this out to see if this works correctly. And if it does, we're going to have a lot of fun with it moving forward in the season. Ace, tell me how you feel about the Lakers. How do you feel about this team right now?
Man, I'm not gonna lie. This is the first time in a few seasons, probably since 21, since I felt like the sky's the limit. I like JJ Redick, what he's doing as his first year of coaching, man. A lot of people doubted him because he don't got experience, but he's proving everybody wrong. He makes the adjustments, and that's. I feel like if we had him last year, we would have beat Denver last year. We just stood around and did the same game plan, game after game after game. I feel like last season, and this year, if the roles were reversed, we would have made it to at least the second round last year.
Yeah.
But I'm feeling real good, man. Having Luka and LeBron on the court at the same time, it really makes the offense for our role players a lot easier. And I think our defense has skyrocketed since AD got traded. I know that sounds crazy because AD is a defensive talent himself, but
Yeah.
it seems like the role players play with way more confidence out there. They're flying around the rotations, and I'm not sure if it's Vando and DFS or it's just everybody buying in and getting extra confidence from Luka being on the team. But it's amazing to watch right now, man. I think we're probably in my opinion, I think we're the favorite to come out of the West. The only team that probably worries me is the Thunder being able to switch and go small ball with us. But besides, and I'm not worried. I feel like Brian and Luka are way more proven than SGA and whoever else is on the Thunder. So I like the Lakers making it out of the West.
That's awesome. I think a lot of Laker fans. We were talking to Coach Rome in the last episode, and I think one of the things he said is, and I thought it was really accurate, was like I think Laker fans are like optimistic, but they're just like very cautious, like because we don't know what Luke is going to look like. You know how quickly he ramps back up, if he ramps all the way back up to being 100%. But I think hearing Laker fans say, like hearing the positivity come from Laker fans, just because there's more, obviously Luke is here. He's a world-class player. He's a generational player. He's only 25. I think that's a big deal. I think that's really awesome. And it's very cool. I think the Laker fandom is in a place right now where, obviously regardless of whatever the end of this season looks like, whether it's the championship or if it falls short of a championship, I think there's a lot of people feel really excited about what it's going to look like. Is that fair to say? How you feel, Ace?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And one more point before I get off here.
Go for it.
I feel like I'm probably speaking what a lot of people are starting to realize, but right now I think we're getting ready to witness something that the NBA hasn't seen before with two great offensive talents in Luka and LeBron, and then to a shorter notice, even Austin Reeves, man, they can create mismatches on the court and it influenced the offense way too easily. And I think it's gonna get scary hours real quick.
Yeah,
Just with LeBron and imagine you see how we've seen for years now how LeBron operates and can pick and choose his matchups in the playoffs. I feel like that's gonna take a lot of burden off of Luka. Also, even though he's 25, I feel like LeBron and Luka both benefit each other. And I know everybody's like, "Oh, how is it gonna work? It's only one ball."
Yeah.
But you got two of the highest IQ players out there that we've ever seen in the game. I think it's gonna be way easier than people are expecting.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be fascinating to see how they adjust. And Braun, for everything that he's been good at. I think people still underrate how good of an IQ he has. We just haven't seen him use that IQ as an off-ball guy, and now he's truly got a guy next to him where he now, like, remember when people used to say like, "Oh, Draymond's really good as a short roll guy." Well, now Braun not being used in a short roll, but being used like an off-ball guy is a potential possibility, and that's going to be like it's going to be like him on steroids, man. Like
it's gonna be nightmares for coaches trying to game plan for this, man. I tell you.
Yeah, it should be fun. Ace, I appreciate you coming up and helping me out here with this space. I hope you have a wonderful Sunday, and you enjoy the rest of your weekend.
You too, man.
Alrighty, so we will head over and add Rima. So yeah, I think Ace brings up a really great point when he's talking about just kind of this entire idea of like seeing what happens with the Lakers, seeing just kind of the potential of LeBron and just the potential of like what he can do in a situation that he hasn't been in before. Like Braun can play off ball, and I think one of the things that people tend to just kind of overthink is, does is he going to be willing to be off ball? Is he willing to, um, like, is he willing to do the stuff that's necessary to be off ball? And I think in the Lakers situation right now, one of the things that they're able to do without having to do anything at all is just allow him to float around as much as he likes to. And I think that's a really cool thing. I think it's something that he's not going to be used to. And I think it does require some adjustment. I think LeBron has to. There's like a part of this where the Lakers have to feel out what LeBron looks like, and they have to sort of feel out how Luka wants to play. And there is a learning curve that's involved with that. But I think a guy like LeBron is going to figure that out very, very quickly, like way faster than people realize. And I think like there's that play last night in Denver where Luka draws a double on the right wing. I think it's been clipped. I know I clipped it and shared it. And Braun, like, uh, Denver's helping off of Braun. Like, Braun's in the deep left corner, and Denver's helping off of it. And Luka throws that pass to Braun in a way where it's just basically a wide open dunk, a wide open layup for him. As long as Braun makes the correct read based on MPJ's rotation, I think is who was on him. And so, like that, like, when have you seen that? Like, when's the last time we've seen Braun just be able to kind of stay off the ball, preserve himself, like not bash himself over the head over and over again, trying to force opportunities for his teammates, and he's the one getting the opportunity. Doesn't happen very much, and I think it's pretty awesome that he might be in that position now. So continuing forward, now we've got Rima. Rima, are you there?
Yeah, what's good, brother?
What's up, brother? How are you doing? How are you feeling? The topic of the space is how do you feel about the Lakers? Lakers have a great win against Denver last night, and I feel like there was a lot of, even though we dropped the game to Utah, we dropped the game to Charlotte. You know, Braun plays, Luka doesn't play against Portland. We get a great game against Portland from Austin Reeves. But I feel like all eyes were on like this Denver matchup. Like, what are we going to look like against this Denver team who have, and we know the Denver fans, Nuggets fans, and Nuggets content creators have decided that they're going to be the rival of choice for the Lakers apparently now because they've been there so many times.
Which
Um,
is crazy.
yeah, for like 4 years, it was Clipper fans telling us that we can't beat the Clippers, and then we beat them, and then now they've disappeared, and now it's the Nuggets fans. So it's we know the musical chairs that happens with this franchise. But how do you feel? That's what I really want to know. How do Laker fans feel about what they're seeing on the floor right now? Tell me your thoughts.
I think, yeah, first, appreciate you for bringing me up. I'm in the Discord as well, so it's always nice to,
Yeah,
like talk hoops with like, people who are like relatively like level-headed about it.
yeah,
There's like a lot of ups and downs with the season, especially with the Lakers, and between like the national media sensationalizing
yeah,
everything with like local media sensationalizing things at times. Like, it's always good to have like a group of people who are kind of just relatively even keel.
yeah.
But
I appreciate
I
that.
think, yeah, for sure. So with that being said, I think the best way to describe it for me is I think I'm honestly just pretty like amazed so far. And I think the main reason for me is that I'm gonna stick on the role players for a second,
Sure.
because I think throughout kind of like, I guess, like recent Laker history, right? Like ever since, with like Vogel and with Ham and now with JJ. Again, like I'm not using this opportunity to like compare JJ with any previous Laker coach. Obviously, like that this is not what I'm doing. But I think it's fascinating that for different Laker coaches, there's always kind of been this thing about like, are we optimizing role players?
Yeah.
Right? Like I know Laker fans, like it's this thing where it's like, oh, like why is it that whenever role players come to LA, you have to like subtract 10% from their
Right.
like their 3-point percentage and all that. And I feel like with JJ, a lot of these quote unquote concerns that Laker fans have had historically are not necessarily there.
Hmm.
Like obviously, like I want to see how he looks in the playoff series, but at least in these high profile like regular season matchups, it just looks like he's pushing the right buttons, right? Like Laker fans are damn near campaigning, people about to set up protests outside of crypto, start DFS, bench Rui, send Rui to, like Antarctica, like never to be seen again.
Yeah.
Rui stinks. Like we never want to see him again. JJ's like, okay, cool, 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 cool. But I'm gonna keep playing Rui. And we literally saw Rui was damn near an instrumental matchup in basically taking joke. I mean, obviously it was a team
Yeah,
defense
for sure.
context that we did, but Rui was a big part of that. 6'9", 240. Like he's a big part of that, right? Like with Jordan Goodwin as well yesterday. Like, we unfortunately we have to get rid of Max in the Luca deal. JJ's like, okay, cool. We have this guy, Jordan Goodwin. Maybe Raj can speak to this much better than I could, but Goodwin's like 6'4" guard who can defend,
Yeah.
who can hit shots. It's like, okay, cool, let's bring him in, right? Like with Jackson Hayes, it's haven't really seen consistent minutes now, but with AD out, we're gonna rely on you. You need to now take a step. You need to stop fouling. All like it just feels like all of these role players, they just know there's a very like strong alignment between what they think that they should be asked to do on the court versus the reality of what JJ is asking.
Yeah.
And I think that's the part that I am frankly just kind of amazed by. So yeah.
No, no, I think that's a great. I think that's a great way to put it. And shout out to you and all the fellow detailers that are in the Discord. We discuss a lot of stuff in that, and we debate a lot of stuff in there. And I do genuinely enjoy that. I can share like the stuff that I learned behind the scenes, and and then when we watch it happen in real life, like, oh, I think this is what he's going to try to do, and then he does it, and they were like, oh yeah, we were right. And then we see like the national media follow behind because they're always late to the game when it comes to it. Shout out to all the folks that are part of the Discord, and part of the Detailers Club is what I like to call it. So I'm of this mind, and I think you bring up a really nice point, Rima, that like the same that JJ has like this even keel. He has like almost like a non-emotional approach, or like a non um I don't want to say non-emotional. I like to use the word he's a sociopath. Like that's the way I would describe his coaching ability. Like you could watch a game of Rui be absolutely horrendous, and he will just look at the game and say, "I just had a bad game. We'll go on to the next game." Kind of like how you described.
Yeah.
And even when Rui has great games, which last night I thought he had a great game. I thought Rui knocking down those threes in those pick and pop situations, him getting to the middle of the Nuggets zone, kicking it out to Austin Reeves for two open threes. I think in the third quarter, like those kind of reads, those kind of makes. Obviously, we'll always talk about his defense and any lapses that he has, his rebounding lapses that he has there. But like JJ looking at the role players and just saying, look, these guys are role players. I'm not measuring them the way I would measure like a superstar or a guy who's getting a max contract on my team. I'm measuring them based on what I need them to do. I think that has been really, really, I think that's bled into the roster. Like the players to some degree feel like they can trust JJ to not put him in a position, not put them in positions where like, is JJ going to ask me to do something I can't do, or I'm not willing to do, or I've never done? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he's not taking Jordan Goodwin and saying, yo, I need you to go be Max Christie. He's just saying, no, I just need you to go play a little bit of defense when teams go small. If you can rebound, like, I know you can rebound. I know you can defend. I know you can knock down occasional shots. I think keeping the expectation like realistic, right?
Yeah.
Like we don't, when we look at a guy like Rui, who's been since D'Lo's been gone, obviously there's been a lot of back and forth about Rui. Like if you keep your expectation realistic on Rui, which is he's a big, heavy guy who's strong enough to kind of play small ball five, and he can knock down threes at a decent clip, if he's and as long as he's uh, used consistently in the offense. Uh, Good things usually happen. Usually happen.
Yeah. For sure.
And we saw that last night with the Nuggets. The game plan offensively, especially, kind of made full use of Rui, and allowed the Lakers to play 5-out basketball. I think that's huge, dude. I think you're right. I think JJ's style of coaching, from how am I evaluating the role players, is really key. I think is a how do you feel though? That's what I want to. Do you feel like you're gaining confidence? Are you in a place right now as a Laker fan where you're like, uh, I'm not quite there yet. We're a
Yeah.
championship caliber team, or are you like, is it growing? Are you already there? Where are you? How do you feel?
I think ever since the AD trade, right, you had to kind of just throw out everything, that we've discovered about this team, right, for like the last couple of seasons,
Hmm.
right? And I think for me, the way I look at all of these things is like it it's kind of like a like you're taking a test in school, right? Where you know what the actual end result is, right? You want to, win a championship. You want to be one of those last four teams standing, cool. And you want to be able to make sure that you're checking off the right boxes, you're answering the right questions on the test so that when you get to that point, it's boom, I'm just going to ace the test,
Yeah.
right? I think for me, when when I look at the way this team has been playing, I would say the last like I think like 10, 15 games since the trade deadline and AD got traded, I think it's for me, it's been this like cautious optimism. Shout out to Coach Rome, but it's almost slightly more confident. I don't know what like a more confident version of cautiously optimistic
Yeah.
is. I would
Yeah.
just say like more optimistic than not because it just feels like we're passing these different tests,
Yeah.
right? It was like, okay, the night AD gets traded and AD doesn't play, we had Max. It's are you capable of stopping a skilled big like Karl Anthony Towns, who isn't the most like bruising type of guy, but he'll still like this is a big body, it's a 7 foot dude, right? Super skilled, not so much a passer, but he's gonna still put pressure on your defense. Basically took him out the game. Next, Clippers, Zubats. Clippers have been you alluded to it earlier, like they just did terrible things to us for years, but now it just feels like with the current team they have now and just with that Zubats matchup, it's like, okay, took him out the game as well. Ty Lue literally had to bench Zubats for Kawhi Leonard in that game, right? And now this game yesterday, where I didn't when I was talking about this to like some friends or whatever, I never thought that it would be like a 20-point lead. I thought because I'm just confident about the Lakers just because what type of fan are you if you're not going to be confident about your team, right? Like I'm always going to be like, yeah, like Lakers are going to win, it's going to be a close game, but I think we pull away in the fourth. Cool. I did not think that the way that we would be able to match up with the Nuggets with Luca would just be as like seamless as it was. And I think that's where, going back to what we were talking about earlier, keeping an even keel approach throughout the season is so important because even when you look at like the Hornets, that Hornets game, I saw some Laker media folks being like, "This is the worst loss of the season. This is I've never seen anything like this."
Yeah.
I'm like, guys, like Luca literally was like 1 for 10.
Yeah.
If Luca hits two threes in that game, right? If he goes 30% from three, we win that
Yeah,
game.
you win the game. Yeah, I thought that was the absolute funny. Like, I understand not taking bad losses because technically that is a bad loss to lose to a team that just got blown out by like 50 last night to the
Yeah.
Portland Trailblazers, a team that we beat shorthanded. But yeah, that's I'm telling you, man. National media is just like, oh, Lakers lost. We've got like a 3-hour segment already pre-recorded on why this isn't gonna work. But no, go ahead, finish your thought.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say that like I think for me it just feels like we just keep passing the test, right? Like it feels like we're getting into this mode of, you're taking an exam, you studied, you're coming in and you're just putting in the multiple choice answers. What I'm super interested to see is what happens when we get to like the short answer, free response question of the test, right? Where, it's not so much like because we're still kind of new at this, right? Like this version of the team is still pretty new. I think teams are still kind of figuring out like, okay, this is this is what these guys are going to want to do with Luca. This is what they're going to want to do with the Luca LeBron dynamic. I think JJ's, kind of keeping some more of like the playoff adjustments under wraps right now, which is great. But I'm more so interested to see like when we get to what's that? It's I feel like the next like 10 games is just gonna be like some like hellacious, just insane, like crazy, like back to backs like every other night
Yeah.
against like teams over 500.
Yeah, it's
So
like six games in like 8 days because all the games we had to reschedule. Something crazy
yeah,
like that. Yeah.
so Adam Silver, what are we doing? But yeah, like
Anyways, yeah.
yeah, like I just think like for me, like I am whatever the one notch above cautiously optimistic is, maybe I'm just gonna say I'm optimistic. I would say just to answer your question, that's how I feel. Feels like we're checking boxes, we're answering questions, and hey man, I'm gonna say this, right? In the spirit of being confident in our team and just in the spirit of just I think just trusting JJ and trusting, bro. This dude was saying like he literally didn't sleep since the Portland game.
Yeah.
Like, bro, like I'm like when you see somebody like that, like energy, dedication like that does not go unrewarded. I'm sorry, it just doesn't. Like you see how the players like they respond to that. I remember they said the same thing in the Knicks game. I think DFS was like, yeah, like coach was really hyped this game, whatever. And like you saw how they came out in the Knicks game. We saw how they came out last game. You see your coach, you see the coaching staff, everybody is super like aligned with the goal. Everybody knows what they're there for. You this is look, I'll just say this. I wouldn't be surprised if we're in the finals.
Yeah.
I would not be shocked. So
Yeah. We've discussed that there might be, if you draw the right matchups, that might be the case. And I think it's really great. I think it's really great that Laker fans are ace before you now, like that you guys are. I think that fans are like kind of there's like this little growing confidence, or you're just right above that cautious optimism, and I think that's probably going to be something that continues to grow if the Lakers continue to stack wins, and I think that's a great place to be in right now for Laker fans. Rima, I appreciate you joining and sharing your thoughts and helping me out with this space, testing out this space and the hotline. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you in the chat for sure in the Discord.
all right, blessings, man. Appreciate it. Have a good
Appreciate
one,
it.
y'all.
Thank you. All right, next we'll get up George, another guy who is part of the Lakers detailed Discord. I love that the detailers are showing up here because you are exactly the folks that I want to come up here. I thought made really great points. I think the way JJ the way JJ is evaluating the role players, the way JJ is deploying the role players. I thought JJ last night said that the Lakers' attention to like executing the detail, attention to detail when it comes to executing the things that they need to execute in order to beat this Denver team. I think he was very complimentary, saying that they were like on top of it with their execution. So that and JJ is like 5 times already this season has mentioned how whatever the game plan was that they were supposed to execute hasn't been executed. So I think it's good that we're seeing this sort of situation where um, he's complimenting that same roster for not being good earlier to being good this year in that Denver game. So I think that's awesome, and I'm with everybody. I'm very much leaning into the optimistic part where like if you ask me like how I think what I think their chances are, I think if the Lakers get the right matchups, I certainly do think, and this might be just a little bit of hype from beating a team like Denver, but I do think um, if they draw the right matchups, they can make a run to the Western Conference Finals. I also will take it one step further and say this: I think JJ Redick is enough of a sociopath when it comes to basketball, where his coaching or the team's coaching gets better when they know that they have to play against a specific team with specific personnel for 7 games in a row. As opposed to the regular season, you're playing different types of teams, different types of basketball play styles. You might play a team like Charlotte one game, and then you got to play Cleveland the next game, and that's 2 completely different teams that you have to accommodate for when you're trying to do that. But in the playoffs, when you have to pick on one specific team and you get to really dissect the strengths and weaknesses of specific players that you're going to play against in the series, I think a guy like JJ is really, really good at picking that sort of stuff apart. So let's move on to the next caller that we have, or the next spacer. I don't know what we would say, caller, spacer. Who knows? Let's add the next have the next person up here, George. Uh, another another one of our detailers from the Discord. George, how are you doing this weekend? How do you feel about your Los Angeles Lakers?
Yeah. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, for me, it's really some 3 weeks, right, since the trade happened, right?
Yeah.
3 weeks ago. So, so for so for me, it's really just I just remember what. Well, we all know that Rob is very much not so popular before the trade,
Sure.
and he basically I just always remember what he said in the intro presser that he wanted sustained Laker excellence,
Yep.
and we basically have that. And whether it's going to be having success in the short term. Now we have a lot of people saying, well, we might win the chip this year,
Yeah,
or at least have a, how do you say this, a good outlook for the next decade with Luka Doncic.
yeah, for sure.
So that is really what I'm really thinking about. That yeah, we have just success for that one for a long period of time.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I think that's a really good way to look at it. I think at the very worst, you know, if the Lakers get a nice run into the playoffs, no matter where they end up finishing, I think everybody's very optimistic about the Lakers in the long term. George, how do you feel about like the basketball that you've seen so far? Like, we got 3 4 games, two rough games with Luca kind of working the rust off and getting his conditioning up. He's still working on getting his conditioning back to a place where he's sort of his full peak form. But I would imagine that Denver game last night probably gave us a lot of excitement or hope that he's getting closer to the normal version of what he is. How do you feel about Luca and like that pairing with LeBron and how it affects the team altogether?
Actually, I think so happened that I think this is really the team that JJ wants to coach.
Mm-hmm.
With the start of the season, I think he was trying to balance coaching the team that he has versus the
Mm.
team that he wants. And now it's more, we have the roster that is more the team that he wants.
Mm.
I think his idea is really a bunch of switchable dudes. And as you and Raj keep on saying, Jackson Hayes is a center,
Yeah.
around 6'11", 6'11", 6'10", but he's being deployed as a big wing. And I think just last year, LFR said a stat that Jackson Hayes is one of the league leaders in contesting threes. So it means that he closes hard,
Yeah.
moves his feet. And I think that is what really JJ wants as a, as a coaching, as a team that he wants to coach.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, so just when Luka came here and we had to ship AD for him, I think he's more, he feels that he's more comfortable with it. And even, even 3 weeks ago, just minutes before the announcement from Shams happened, we had a good showing against the New York Knicks.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
So I think yeah, that is really what I think that is the reason why it seems to click. And the only reason why we had some losses here because of course we need to integrate Luca and also you can feel that partly maybe his mind is still going adjusting to his new environment and
Yep.
also of course being in the right condition because I think he hasn't played since Christmas. That's about 6 weeks ago, and maybe he hasn't played basketball until the day after his interpressor with us.
Yeah.
When Rob Pelinka said he's going to start the 5-on-5 thing, maybe that's the first time that actually dribble the basketball again. So
Yeah.
yeah, right now I think it's all in the up and up. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think you along with Ace and Rima, like you guys have both just kind of mentioned, you guys are all sort of in the same space right now, and I'm with you guys too as well, where the optimism is continuing to grow about the team as kind of Luca gets more and more involved with the offense and gets more and more back to just being just the person that he is. George, did you have anything else you wanted to add before I move on to the next speaker? Any like in terms of like a level from 1 to 10 in terms of just like the optimism you have, what's the number that you're at right now as a Laker fan?
Yeah, for me, I think maybe it's around 8. I'm not really expecting much this season, but
Okay.
as Raj would always say, we need to build from something, right? Because I think when, unfortunately, the Rush trade happened in 2021, we kind of, we had an idea of a 3-star build, 3 max player
Hmm.
type of build, just didn't work, whether it's, you can say it's bad roster construction, it's injuries, whatever. Then after that, well, Rob Palinka was able to, yeah, trade him away for some good role players and try to rebuild this stuff.
Hmm.
So so right now, yeah, I think it might rate it as around a
Yeah.
solid eight for
Yeah.
now. And maybe one more thing that I would like to say about, because it's fitting that our next game is against Dallas, and
Yeah.
maybe we don't have a tribute video for AD if he's not going to play. I'm
Yeah.
not sure. Or if it's in if he has a crypto, maybe they will play something. I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
It's about
Yeah.
the decision.
I'm sure. I think they'll get. I'll get. They'll get. Are you saying like, will they get like farewell videos and stuff like that, or thank you videos or
A
whatever?
tribute. Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I think
But
they
I
will.
think if it's
Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I guess yeah. Maybe if AD will be at crypto, maybe they will play something.
Yeah.
But I would just like to say that the feeling that we had for the trade is maybe we can refer to later history because we have a lot of it.
Yeah.
That maybe this is really the feeling that we had if the 2011 trade happened, because that was a trade that we have to let go of Odom and Pau,
Yeah. Yeah. That's it.
two core players of our back-to-back championship.
Yeah. No, I think that's it. I think that's a great. I think that's a great analogy. You know, that is something that we discussed in the Discord. That like this trade felt a lot like. This trade did feel a lot like the Powell and the Odom trade. That happened. The famously nixed trade for the veto trade for Chris Paul. George, I appreciate you joining. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Lakers don't play until Tuesday, I believe. So I hope we get to enjoy this win and enjoy um, the continued winning with the Lakers as we continue to go.
Yeah, thanks.
Yep. Alrighty, let me get the next person up here. You guys have been super awesome jumping up here. And like I mentioned before, I am testing out, seeing how the spaces work, and I'm recording this space not on Twitter or not on X, but I'm recording like a video version of this space, which you guys can't see because it's not streaming right now. But what I'm trying to do for the folks that are joining late is to see if this format works a little bit better for the hotline, and if it does work better, you will see yourselves on the Lakers Detailed Spaces, or sorry, Lakers Detailed YouTube channel every time you guys join the hotline or these hotline spaces. And if the audio and everything comes in very clear, you can expect me to maybe do this for like post games and stuff like that, and give you guys a chance, give the folks a chance to just kind of talk about the team and whatever's going on in recent news. So let's add another speaker. We're adding Shell to this space. Shell, how do you feel about your Los Angeles Lakers right now?
Feeling good, man. The win yesterday really, I would say, boosted everybody's morale. I think it was a great win to see everybody click. It was a good feeling. Um, it's getting everybody excited, but I mean, Luca just got here. I think there's this is great to add to the process, but I think it's gonna still take time. We should temper our expectations. I'm all cautiously optimistic about the future for sure.
Yeah. I think Rome, when Rome said that, I was like, you know what, that sounds like the perfect way to describe. I think how everybody feels, especially with Lucas working his way back to normal health. Where are you on the optimism scale from like 1 to 10? Like 10 being the
I'm
highest. Where are you on that scale?
Yeah, I'm actually at maybe a 6
Okay.
because I think we've had some good performances, but like I just don't know how this is going to play out. There are still things to work out.
Hmm.
The roster being one of them. Some decisions need to be made there. Number two, can we keep this up? Like the defensive energy that's happening. Like, it's a different style than we've been playing defensively compared to the first half of the season with things being funneled in to AD versus now it's just like chaos, right?
Yeah.
Can we keep that up? Like will they have enough of energy to do that on a nightly basis? Because it does, I think, take a lot of energy, especially for like an older player like LeBron.
Yeah.
And then that adds on to the health concerns. Like we've got so many back to backs remaining in the rest of the season. I think almost half our games are back to backs.
Yeah.
That's kind of insane. So there are like a lot of things to be worked out. So that's why I'm at like 6 because of these reasons.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're sort of hedging your bet, right? Like you're hedging
Yeah.
that, like maybe we take a couple losses with this ridiculous back to back schedule coming out. I think that's entirely fair. I think that number is fair. I would say that, like, I would imagine most fans to be somewhere around like a 7. Like if you're above a 7, then you have a lot of confidence that they're going to continue to grow as a team. The Luka LeBron pairing is going to continue to be really successful. And then it feels like if you're like below that or around that, then it's probably a realistic place to be in. We don't look like a team that can just roll every single team that we play against, but we do look like a team that can give, that we could
Yeah.
steal a win from a team that might not be ready for us.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I just had a question for you though. This is not exactly on the how do you
Sure.
feel standpoint, but like this just got me thinking of, and it comes from some of the stuff that you've analyzed over in during the first half of the season. And, and don't get me wrong, I love AD, but
Yeah.
the question here is Luca a better complement to LeBron at this stage of his career than AD was with the team? Because I think the plus minus like on court with LeBron and AD on court like was always at a negative, and or maybe just a slight positive, but
Yeah.
it was never at like a plus 10 or something like that with your superstars on court. Like, so does this fit better for LeBron at this age of his at this time of his career, or than AD?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. If I had to answer that, or obviously I'm going to answer it without really, like, on the spot, I would argue the answer is probably yes, because there is an argument. So there's this thing, right, that's been happening. In my opinion, there's this thing that's been happening with LeBron. And sorry, folks, for the folks that are just joining in right now, if you'd like to come up and speak, I'm testing out the Hotline Radio episode, and seeing how this sort of functions as I record it in the background for you guys to be able to kind of post on YouTube. So if you like to come up and give some thoughts about the Lakers, you can just hit the request button, and I'll bring you guys up one by one. So, Shell, your question is this iteration of Luka next to this version of LeBron a better fit than what AD was? And so I think my initial answer is yes. And the reason why I think the answer is a yes is because I think over the past couple years, what we've seen is, as spectacular as LeBron is, um, teams that are playing the game of attrition against LeBron, which is essentially, we're going to beat up LeBron as much as we possibly can because we know that the refs aren't going to give him free throws, and play him one-on-one or send multiple bodies and blah, 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 all that sort of stuff that they do to make LeBron's life difficult getting to the rim. I think that has continued to happen. And I think the Lakers were hoping that AD becoming more of a focal point on offense, being the offensive hub, um, would allow LeBron to not have to deal with that as much. And I think one of the things that we've seen happen, at least as it relates to the offensive side of that, is that's not happening. Like, AD having incredibly great offensive games doesn't necessarily mean that LeBron gets easier looks. You get what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
he's still seeing multiple bodies in the paint. He's not getting one-on-one coverage. That sort of stuff isn't happening. And I think the reason why this version of Luka, this iteration of Luka next to this version of LeBron is better than AD is because Luka is actually drawing doubles away. Like, you watched the Nuggets game last night. Obviously, Braun gets a couple of easy buckets on leak outs and stuff like that. But Luka, Braun fans don't get mad at me when I say this. I think right now, I'm sure the Luka FC folks would make that argument from the beginning, since Luka's been here. But I'll just say, for right now, I think Luka's ability to create for his teammates is superior to what Braun can even do for his teammates. And I think Braun is seeing some benefit from Luka being all galaxy creator for his teammates. He's drawing double teams. He knows how to bend a defense to cause a second guy to come over to help. And Braun is able to eat off of some of that. He is getting the back cuts. He is getting the leak outs. He is getting all that sort of stuff. And that's just something he wasn't getting with next to AD. So as it relates to helping Braun be better at basketball or help allowing Bron to have it a little bit easier, especially on the offensive end, I would say this version of Luka is supremely beneficial. And honestly, the fact that he can score like Luka's a world class scorer and he's a world class creator next to a guy like LeBron who has incredibly high IQ, who can read what the defense is doing behind, against what Luka's trying to do. It just allows LeBron to get way easy looks, like really easy looks. And I think as they build that natural synergy with each other, chemistry with each other, it's going to continue to grow. But then I'm sure you've thought about it, like if the answer to that is yes, well, what about the defense? And I think JJ thinks that team defense is the way to go about doing it. That a singular person can't. I wouldn't be surprised. He might have said it before. Like I think philosophically, JJ probably believes that team defense can't. It's never done by one person. Like a single person funnel. Like the idea that you could just funnel anybody to Rudy Gobert, and you know what? That now you don't have to play any defense at all. I don't think JJ agrees with that basketball fundamentally, philosophically, and so I think that's why you're seeing this team respond the way it has.
And this probably suits LeBron better as well, since he's not tasked with doing one specific thing. It's just like defense by committee.
Yeah.
So that probably helps him as well.
Yeah. If you dice up like the two, like from a basketball perspective, just from a practical perspective, if you've ever played basketball, it doesn't even have to be competitive. I don't care if it's high school or anything, even just pick up basketball. If you ever play basketball and you play in a pickup run, in an open run where your team can't score, there's always like this inflection point when you're playing where your guys just start forcing it. They either force it by forcing it to the rim or forcing up bad shots, or they're forcing it into the paint and trying to pass it out to whoever ends up being wide open, right? It's usually not just passing it around in a circle. It's somebody takes the responsibility of, oh, I'm just going to force the issue and hopefully we can create a good shot from this. I think the Lakers with LeBron for a while, and we haven't talked about Austin and how Austin's been impacted by Bron and Luka being so good together, which Raj and I will probably cover in a pod. But I think there were times where LeBron had to do that, where like the offense would kind of die and LeBron would have to force the issue. I remember that happening in the Denver Nuggets series when we got bounced last year. Like Bron would have to, like when we went on the scoring droughts, you'd see Bron try to go at Aaron Gordon one-on-one. Like that became a thing. And because Denver, the refs give Aaron Gordon the ability to defend Bron physically without drawing fouls or whatever, blah, blah, that sort of thing. Like sometimes those plays, which would be like a 70% Bron make at the rim, would become a 50% Bron make at the rim. And that ended up hurting the Lakers during those droughts sometimes because we weren't able to score at a consistent level and Anthony Davis wasn't getting the ball, that sort of thing. But now with Luka, Bron's not having to work as hard to get those looks. He's getting better threes. Right. He's getting open cuts to the rim. He gets those easy leak outs. One of the things that we were just discussing in the Discord earlier this morning, because people are trying to give all this analysis about, how will Denver counter what the Lakers are doing and how, they'll just put Jokic in drop coverage and blah, 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 and that sort of stuff. I think people need to understand that Luka scoring 30 points is huge. That's amazing against Denver. Knocking down step back threes and blah, blah. That's great. But Luka getting his teammates, I think Bron had 3 dunks. Jackson had 3 dunks. He's creating easy opportunities for his teammates. And one of those teammates is LeBron James. That hurts you just as much as those 30 points that he's scoring. The fact that any of those guys are expending minimal energy to have to score those buckets, that's a huge problem for a lot of defenses. And so, I don't know what the adjustment's going to be for Denver. I can guess what the adjustments will be. But at this stage of Bron, that was my very long answer to your question. I think you could argue that Luka's. I mean, I'm seeing people on the timeline say that Luka could extend Bron's career. Like as long as Bron stays in shape and he's not hurt. Like why can't Bron just eat off of everything that Luka does? Doesn't seem like he has any issues with it.
He could be he's like a supercharged version of like Kyrie Irving from the Cavs.
or the one that'll really piss the Bron fans out. Like he's like a supercharged version of Scottie Pippen. Like if you say that to a Bron fan, they'll be, how dare you? But no, I mean, people talk about Draymond Green being the perfect role player for Steph Curry. right? The short roll guy, high
Yeah.
IQ, plays defense. What is Braun? Like, obviously, Braun is arguably the greatest player of all time. Um, but what happens if he doesn't have to be the greatest player of all time? Has anybody wondered about what that looks like? I think you're about to find
Mhm.
out, and I think it's been really, really cool to see. Chell,
Yeah.
what you told me you were a 6, right, on the optimism
Yeah.
scale.
6.
What would move you up? What would get you like to slide that number a little bit closer to like 7 or 8?
I think just viewing the process, I think we got like a bunch of good teams coming up, so we'll have a better sample size to really judge this team.
Yeah,
Also from a health standpoint, just to see how it holds up with these back to backs, and then of course like ironing out the roster, like who will get maybe a last spot or maybe a couple of last spots. We'll
yeah,
see. I mean, Goodwin had a really good game, I think.
yeah,
Jameson is a beast. I'm a real big fan of that
yeah. We're
type of basketball. So,
detailers. The detailers club is we are big fans of Trey Jameson, and we are big fans of guys who are
yeah,
the grunts and the
yeah,
goons, the old school version of goons, not the new school definition
yeah,
of goons. But
yeah.
we like those guys because I think yeah. What do we have enough offense? You think with Luca, Braun, and Austin kind of rolling the way they
Yeah,
are?
I mean, you just broke it down for LeBron and Luca, but then like they have a third option in Austin,
Yeah,
who is just being having a phenomenal year,
yeah,
and then we have Rui, who when he's on, he is really on.
yeah,
So offensively, I think we have enough of firepower. It's the defense. It comes down to the defense or the lineups
yeah,
that play on the floor, and the matchups, of course. So,
yeah.
um,
Absolutely.
but I mean, um, if I will say this, the outside chance or something to think about is, I think like if we wanted to get to that championship spot, like that would be great because the contracts just line up really well. The team is not very expensive at the moment,
Yeah,
and it's probably going to get expensive in another couple of years. So if we wanted to get like steal a chip in a way, like I'm not expecting a chip this year, but
yeah.
this would be a great year to steal it because money wise, it really works well.
Yeah, yeah. I think there's a nice window of opportunity. There's a little bit of this too. Like I remember when we traded for Powell mid-season, the Lakers went on
Yeah,
like a really crazy run, and we made it to the finals
yeah,
before losing. There is a little bit of that right now. I would say like there's a
yeah,
little bit of like, oh, teams don't know how to deal with this. Like, oh, we game plan for Luka Doncic, but we have to game plan for Luka Doncic, and then we also have to worry about LeBron playing off ball with him. So now this is a very different. Like now, it's not like you didn't change the equation. You took the test out, threw it away, and said, "Oh, here's a brand new test, and
yeah,
congratulations, you have no study guide for this, so you're gonna have to figure it out yourself." And so I think it's a very interesting situation that the Lakers are in. That's why it gives me a little bit of um, I think that's why my optimism is a little bit higher because uh, I think there's a little bit of like that wild cardness with this Lakers team where teams don't know. Like there could be a night where Luca and LeBron only put up like 20 points and Austin Reeves is our leading scorer. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
because of how people are
yeah,
defending him.
exactly.
So it's going to be very interesting to see. Shell, did you have any
Yeah.
last thoughts before I let you go and enjoy the rest of your weekend?
No, no, that's it. This was great.
Yeah.
Hope to hear some more spaces in the future.
Yeah, I appreciate it. You guys in the Discord know that I've been trying to figure this hotline thing out,
Yeah, yeah,
and so hopefully this format ends up working pretty well. And if it does, I'll probably do this like for our post games or something like that. But you'll be in the know because you're
cool.
you're in the Discord. But
Yeah,
I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I appreciate you jumping
you
up
too,
here
man.
to
Take
joining
care.
me. Alrighty, so uh, I'll give it like another maybe about 5 minutes if anybody wants to come up here and just give me their thoughts. As I mentioned, for the folks that are joining late, I'm testing out this format of doing sort of this hotline space. I call it a hotline because I want to bring people up the same way that you would do it like on a radio show, like if you're listening to ESPN 710 or something like that. But my goal is that when I bring you guys up here and you guys give your thoughts, I'm recording it in the background so that I can post it on the YouTube so that when you guys you guys can listen back later for the folks that enjoy it and for the people who subscribe to the Lakers Detailed YouTube channel. But I think it's also kind of cool to be able to just kind of not be forced to I have to call in, wait on the phone bank. Like you can listen back to it anytime. You can tell your friends that you had a conversation about the Lakers and share the link too as well. It's just something to kind of enjoy with the community a little bit more. But yeah, dude, the Lakers had such a great win last night, and I thought it was really phenomenal that they were able to kind of approach it the way they did. I thought the Lakers have made it very, very clear that they want to have Luca sort of drive the team. They want him to be the person who plays the basketball, just play the game the way that you like playing it, and everybody will fit in around you. And I was joking with Raj, I think in the chat, or it might have just been when we stopped the stream, where I said, LeBron came out and said, um, "Hey, we don't want Luca to fit in; we want him to fit out." And I thought it was really funny because I think he said that to like Kevin Love once before. I think when he was with the Cavs, I might be wrong, so don't get mad at me. But he said something like that, and my biggest thing has been like, he's actually right. Like, it's really Ron's telling Luca like, just play your basketball, and we'll fit into what you're doing. And it's crazy because LeBron James is telling you that, and he's been basically the de facto leader of this team. So I'm very curious to see um, how much like as Lucas continues to get back to what his peak form is or what his full form is, whatever that looks like this season, how much more like how much easier it gets for his teammates. Because I would say last night the offense was really great. I was talking to some of the folks that are in the coaches' den, and there's a deep debate as to there's Lakers don't have a Jokic stopper, they don't have a guy that can hold them up. I know people were saying that Trey Jamison should play. Even I was just like, you can't play a two-way guy on Jokic. That's kind of crazy. Unless you people are in foul trouble, you can't do that. It's really a team effort, and I thought the Lakers had a really great team effort in defending Jokic last night. But really, what I wanted to see was, can the Lakers' offense hold up? Can they continue to score at a high enough clip to like offset the stuff that Denver does? And that was something that I was very happy to see last night, because in the Denver series, when we played them last year, two of those games ended up being game winners. And I thought a crucial reason why the Lakers lost that series wasn't because of the defensive lapses by the Lakers. I thought it was because we couldn't score. Like, we couldn't put the ball in the hoop. You had those situations where AD stopped getting the ball, whether it was his fault or his teammates' fault. He just was like, the Lakers couldn't score. And because they couldn't score, they allowed Denver to continue to play the kind of offense they like to play, the defense they like to play, made it easier for them. But now with Luka, and the fact that he's such an incredible scorer and an incredible creator, like, the fact that he's an incredible creator, it changes the calculus of so much stuff. Everybody's an offensive threat now. As long as you can cut, finish at the rim, maybe make an open jump shot, you're an offensive threat, Luka Doncic on the floor. And I think that's something that is very, very interesting to see. And I think that does change the calculus of how other teams might deal with the Lakers. So I'll be very interested to see if this continues. The Lakers have a big stretch. They have Dallas, and then I think they have a back-to-back against the Clippers. I think it's like a home and home sort of situation. So the basketball schedule doesn't get any easier, but I would imagine that if they continue to score at a high enough clip and they continue to score well, and they continue to play great basketball, I feel like the Lakers are going to quickly go from, hey, this team's might be like a dark horse contender, to, this Lakers team is like this team might definitely be a contender. So I think this next stretch of basketball is really, really going to give us an idea of what that looks like. And like you guys know, the detailers, we're always ahead of the game. The national media is always following behind. I think if the Lakers rip off like 3 in a row from this point on, you're going to get a lot of, hey, the Lakers are real contenders now, and we don't need to wait for the future sort of conversation starting next week, or starting late next week. So I'll be very interested to see it. So folks, I appreciate everybody that was able to join the space. You guys are super helpful. I'm going to end the space very shortly. And then I'm going to go take a look at the video and see what the audio and all that sort of stuff looks like. And if everything looks great, you'll see it up on the YouTube, and I'll throw it up on the Spotify. And we will have a new version of what the Lakers Detailed Hotline looks like. And I will probably do these like for post games and have you guys come up, and just like you would on a regular radio show, you guys can come up, give us your thoughts, give me your thoughts about the Lakers, your gripes, whatever it is, and we can have a good time. So I appreciate all the folks that were able to join. I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your weekend. And if nothing else, I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy.